manner that he may have gone for it before, and so he'll go again. There was no such trip in the first place. This issue is nothing but an issue that is generated by mischief makers. Okay. Before you begin to make such insinuations, there has to be some kind of evidence, no matter how small, to suggest that somebody is ill. There has to be some kind of. In the case of Asiwaju, there's even no iota of evidence at all. Atiku travels in and out every day to Dubai. Nobody insinuates anything. He goes to Dubai. He has a place in Dubai. So Asiwaju has a place in London. So why in the case of Asiwaju, it's nothing but mischief. It's really nothing but mischief. I regret to say this. It is nothing I should boast about, and I really regret to say this. But there was this young man who was taunting Asiwaju. I think it was something around March or so this year. We saw him on Facebook every day taunting him about his old age and that he was sick and that he looked frail. Unfortunately, that young man died about 2 weeks ago, a 26-year-old guy, on Facebook. It's just a big lesson to us, a very much big lesson to us, that we should not play God. We are not God. The case of Muhammad Buhari too. Yes. If you remember 2015, there was even a prominent governor at that time. He went to take a full-page advert, front page, punch, and drew a skeleton of Buhari, that Buhari will not last his 8 years, that they want to foist another year ago on the nation. And I'm sure you know the governor I'm talking about. He's an ex-governor now. That thing drew outrage. It drew outrage at that time in 2014. Full-page advert, front-page punch, drew a skeleton of Buhari, and they carried that advert. People even criticized Punch at that time that why would you carry such an offensive advert against President Muhammad Buhari? Here he is, almost 80 years, bouncing up and down, stronger and fitter than you and I, almost completing his 8-year tenure. That ex-governor went through surgery recently. He went for surgery. He's still in his 60s. He went for surgery recently. A life-saving surgery. These are big lessons to all of us. We should never play God with anybody or his health. God is the one that owns life and health. Thank you. Okay,
I'm being joined now by one of the panelists too. Barrister Yomi Ogunla is here. We do this every Saturday. Barrister Yomi Ogunla and Professor Remi Ayede. Barrister, good morning. It's good to have you join the program.
Yes, good morning. It's so wonderful to be here. And I am also happy we have the gentleman who is our guest, on the show. A colleague. And a good one at that. We come a long way, but I know he won't remember. But all the same, I say, great Ife.
My own brother, I remember you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And good to hear you again.
Nice.
It's so refreshing to hear from you. So refreshing. Thank you.
One.
All right, let's Honorable Minister, the crisis within the opposition party, the PDP, especially within its leadership, should be a plus to the APC. You will be in affirmative of that. As a spokesperson of the Presidential Campaign Council, how do you, as a party, leverage on this for the campaigns?
We don't think it's a plus to us, really. We should just put our own house in order. We are not living our lives for the opposition, really. We are not living our lives looking behind our shoulders all the time to see what the opposition is doing. If you know those who run a 100 meters race, once you start off, you just go at your full speed. Maybe very close to the finishing line, you can look at your left and your right and see whether your closest rivals are about to breast the tape, as you. But at the beginning of the race, you cannot start the race when they say on your marks, get set and go. You cannot begin to look at your left and right. Just go at your full throttle. Maybe we should look at where they are a week to voting in February. We'll look at our left and right and say, where do they stand? Because it's still a long way to go. That's the point I'm making. I mean, they can resolve their issues tomorrow. And so we cannot then go to sleep or rest on our oars and think that, but the other parties, they have a crisis. And as such, we should go to sleep. We are not looking at them right now. We are just planning, getting ready, and then we'll go, at our full throttle. and see where we find ourselves by the end of January, very close to voting time.
Yeah, but I feel you should also take note of it. It's an election period and it's a competition. One person must win the election. So you look at your competitor and look at what he's doing and see if you leverage on that.
Well, when you say leverage on that, really, for us, we just look at our own strengths, you know. My learned colleague there, you know, there's a principle in landlord that says you don't win land on the basis of the weakness of the case of the opponent. It's on the strength of your own title that you win land. And I think I like to adopt that principle on the political terrain. You want to win on your own strength first, calculate your own strength, and not the weakness of your opponent. So I beg you to come back again to that point that we want to rely on our strengths. A campaign spokesman of a ruling party cannot come on air to begin to say that we're actually depending on the weakness of the opposition, really. We think we have enough strength, even if the opposition were not to be in crisis. We think we have enough strength to overcome them at the election, just like we did in 2019. In 2019, the PDP was stronger because you had a Peter Obi on that ticket, you had a Kwankwaso also, all campaigning for Atiku in 2019. So we think really, maybe just to also add to what you say, we think that the PDP is actually weaker now. We are confident the PDP is not the PDP of 2019. And let me confess for the first time that the PDP gave us a good run for our money in 2019. They did. It was 12 to 15 million votes. That was, for a national election, that was close enough. You know, so they gave us a good run in 2019. But we think that they are weaker now. We think they are weaker. We think we have an advantage because of that weakness. However, we will continue to build on our own strengths.
All right, Honorable, just hold on. We'll go on this break, and when we come back, we'll be discussing more issues. What are the campaign issues of the APC, and what are those things that people feel had come out in the media and they feel are not true, and how do you gain the trust of the people again? Stay tuned, don't go away. It's still the Podium on 32 FM 94.9.
A mother's love is unconditional. Nothing serves this love better than a bowl of Indomie. So, show some love with Indomie.
àbẹ́ẹ̀rí ọdún méjìlélọ́gọ́ta 62 years ló dàbí àná tó léde wá gbòmìnira ìdígọ́sìrè tí gbajúgbajà iléeṣẹ́ ni Design Bricks Homes and Property fi ń darapọ̀ dáwọ́ dùnú pẹ̀lú gbogbo ọmọ Nàìjíríà fún tayẹyẹ òmìnira wa.
láti wá mú kí 62nd Independence Anniversary ó jẹ́ ìrírí ìdùnnú mánigbàgbé níléeṣẹ́ Design Bricks fi ṣàgbékalẹ̀ ètò láti mẹ́rin pẹ̀kẹ́ gbogbo oníbàárà wọn tẹ́lẹ̀ àti gbogbo ẹni fẹ́ ralẹ̀ fọkànbalẹ̀ láti kọ́lé ara wọn. Our Independence promo lélẹ́yìí o òmìnira wa.
Design Bricks fi fàǹfààní 50% discount sílẹ̀ lórí gbogbo ẹ̀sẹ̀sì wọn tó wà ní Ìbàdàn, Ọ̀yọ́, Ìjẹ̀bú, Ṣàgámù, Abẹ́òkúta, Ìpínlẹ̀ Èkó àti bẹ́ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ. ẹ̀bùnlé ọ̀fẹ́ tún wà fún ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ olóríire tó bára lẹ̀ lásìkò yìí.
kódà díẹ̀ nínú owó tẹ́ jẹ tẹ́lẹ̀ lẹ́ẹ̀ máa san padà báyìí o.
bákan náà lẹ́tùn máa gba àwọn ẹ̀bùn gbákọ́gbé òmìnira bíi TV, generator, fridge, fan, blender, pressing iron, school bags fáwọn ọmọ yín àti bẹ́ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ.
láti jàǹfààní Design Bricks our Independence promo 2022.
kàn sí wọn láwọn ọ́fíìsì wọn tàbí kó o pè wọ́n sórí 090-393-75110. àsọyé àti àdéhùn bẹ́ o.
Any flourish tea, any flourish capsule, egbògi ohun mímu tó fara lókun. Ó mára jí pépé o, ó mẹ́jẹ̀ mọ́ lóló, ó dènà ìfúnpá gíga. Any Robot Global Ventures ló ṣe é o.
bó o bá rẹni tó mu any flourish tea wàá ti dá mọ̀ yàtọ̀ á tutù lẹ́jẹ̀ dódódó àwa máa dán lójú yọ̀yọ̀yọ̀. ilé iṣẹ́ any Robot Global Ventures ló ń ṣe é. oògùn mímu atẹ́jẹ̀ṣe tá a fi wé àtẹ̀gbò igi ilẹ̀ wa ṣe lóríṣiríṣi nílànà ti gbàlódé pẹ̀lú ìmọ́tótó ó wà lólómi àtòníkóró NAFDAC fòǹtẹ̀lú gbà. ní gbogbo ilé ìtajà lẹ́tí lè ríra. ilé iṣẹ́ any Robot Global Ventures wà ní nọ́mbà 33 Ondo Street Ọ̀ṣuntòkun Avenue Old Bodija Ìbàdàn. láti rà tàbí jẹ́ alágbàtà rẹ̀ ẹ pè 07067197812.
You're listening to 32 FM 94.9.
Safari.
All right, welcome back. It's still the podium on 32 FM 94.9, and our guest is Honorable Minister of State for Labour and Productivity, and also the Director Publicity and the spokesperson, Presidential Campaign Council of the APC, Festus Keyamo. Yeah, good to know that you're still there. So I'll hand over the mic to Barrister Yomi Ogunlola this morning.
Yes, Festus, once again, good morning. Baba 70, so it's it's a good to have you on board. Now, I want you to look at a little issue that arose just a couple of days ago, and that's the decision of the Federal High Court in Abuja, which nullified the candidature of Governor Oyetola, and and his deputy, on the ground that the governor may Mala Buni of Yobe State, as a chairmanship of the party who submitted the name of Oyetola was nullified by the court. And knowing that the same applies to the likes of Tinubu, especially given the fact that the National Working Committee came at the instance of that same person. What do you think are the chances of, for example, Tinubu? And I also want to look at it with your position too, being the spokesperson for this campaign committee when you are a junior minister.
All right, thank you. The judgment in question, though on appeal now, is not a judgment that affects the party as a whole. As a lawyer, you know that the issue submitted before that court for determination had to do with the nomination of our candidates for the Osun governorship election. So the judgment for now is restricted to Osun and affects only our candidates for the election in Osun. But I hope, of course, it will be overturned on appeal because we have appealed the judgment as it is now. So it's not a judgment that affects the party as a whole. The judgment itself did not, of course, nullify every single thing that Buni did. It was just in respect of the Osun governorship nomination of our candidate. Will somebody somehow go and overstretch it to cover the entire actions of Buni, including the National Convention, or including the Congress, the National Convention that produced the leadership? Because don't forget that it was not Buni that actually produced the candidates. Buni's committee only produced the leadership of the party now, that went ahead again in less than 3 or 4 weeks to organize another national convention by which our presidential candidate emerged. But be that as it may, we await the outcome of that appeal. However, whether one by some overstretch of logic can bring it to now affect the entire party is what I doubt entirely. I will be on the side of my party till the end. I will fight it. But I think, and I'm very confident, 100% confident, that my party is safe. That judgment does not affect the party in any way or our presidential candidates. There's also the issue of the timeline between which to go to court to challenge the nomination of a candidate. As a lawyer, that there's a timeline. You also know that there are issues of locus too, who can go to court. Those issues, I think, would be a big stumbling block for anybody now to go and challenge anything affecting our candidates.
Yeah, thank you, Honorable Minister. You're talking about the strength of your party as the basis of your reaching out, and I think it's a very good strategy. But the strength of your party, we are still waiting for the agenda of your candidate. There has been a number of documents flying around, and I think the council has denied those documents. is it the APC manifesto in INEC's website that we are going to depend on, or something is still coming?
Something is coming, like the young ones who say these days. Our younger ones on social media say something huge is coming. So we are expecting the manifesto. I have also looked at it. I made some inputs. Asiwaju has his own vision. He's not deviating from the progressive ideas of the APC. So there is a common platform that is the progressive platform, which is the APC. Progressivism is our own watchword. However, you know that I think Prof will attest to it too, that different human beings have a way of implementing the same agenda. So you can even see that in America, for example, a Biden administration, even though on the same ticket like that of Obama, even he was vice president at that time. Don't forget that, and it was the same platform, the Democratic Party. But the Biden's administration will do things a bit slightly different from Obama too. Even though he was vice president at that time to Obama, but he's not doing everything hook, line, and sinker the way Obama is doing. That was even a vice president on the same ticket. Not to talk about Asiwaju now, that he was not on the same ticket with President Buhari, but on the same platform as the APC. So we expect, the long and short of what I'm saying is that we expect Asiwaju to bring his own energy, his own vision, his own style into government to implement the programs of the APC. However, Asiwaju has his own manifesto.
Okay.
That manifesto is ready. It will be unveiled, I think, on the same day that we are going to inaugurate our campaign council, which should just be a few days from now. We are going to inaugurate our campaign council. That manifesto will be unveiled. As to the content of the manifesto, I can't give expo now. Prof knows the implication of giving expo in an exam.
Yeah, but Honorable Minister, even despite the fact that you want to keep this to your chest now, but Nigerians are listening. They want to have a peep into it, even if it is just one out of what we should expect from this manifesto, so that we'll see if it could give us some ray of hope for a better tomorrow or a new Nigeria.
I just want you to look at Lagos. I want you to look at what Asiwaju met on the ground in 1999 after the federal government exited Lagos to Abuja, and then the chaos that was Lagos that they left behind in Lagos. And what Asiwaju met on the ground and the rebuilding process he started, the type of foundation he laid. Asiwaju is a very, very methodic person. He wouldn't come and just jump on a train and begin to ride. He would look at all the indices. He has done so. What President Muhammad Buhari has done has been exceptional, because President Muhammad Buhari has steered the nation in times of recession, in times of global lockdowns, in times of even our major earner, oil going into negative digits at times, production crashing to 700,000 barrels, all those problems. President Buhari built infrastructure, did so much within all of these problems. But then there are challenges. No government can do everything. The next government must take off from where the previous one stops. President Asiwaju has looked at it all. He has drawn up a roadmap to continue from where President Muhammad Buhari will stop in terms of the good sides of the administration, infrastructure, agriculture. If you look at massive infrastructure development like trains, intercity and intracity trains, he wants to improve on all of that. Areas where there will be challenges, areas where we could not say that we did exceptionally well, but we are still a work in progress. Asiwaju will bring his own ideas and improve significantly on those areas. But this document addresses the fears and aspirations and the expectations, of course, of Nigerians.
All right, you just mentioned Asiwaju and Lagos State. And then I want to ask, if up till now, 23 years after the beginning of the Fourth Republic, we still look at the achievements of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, don't you think it's a slap on the face of other governors of Lagos State, especially Babatunde Raji Fashola, Ambode, and now Sanwo-Olu. Still, today, we're still talking about Asiwaju campaigning with his achievements in Lagos State. Don't you think we should be looking at campaigning with the Buhari's APC-led administration of 8 years, what they have achieved, rather than go back to 23 years ago, campaigning on what happened 23 years ago?
Well, thank you. I like that question. You just made a statement that is contradictory now, with all respect to you. You said we are campaigning with what happened 23 years ago. Yet, you say that we are campaigning on the records of Asiwaju, of Fashola, Ambode, and Sanwo-Olu.
No, you didn't get me.
That is not 23 years ago. That's not 23 years ago.
Okay.
We are campaigning on the records of both the federal government in the last 8 years and with the records of Lagos State, one, during the time of Asiwaju and after the time of Asiwaju. Now, before I come to the federal government, why are we campaigning with the record of Lagos State after the time of Asiwaju? Because the real bane of leadership and governance in Nigeria, you will agree with me, is continuity. That's a major bane, the bane. And I think other states should borrow from Lagos, and even the federal government should borrow from Lagos. And they should see the importance of having a long-term development plan executed faithfully, not deviated from 1 inch, executed faithfully to the letter. That is what you are seeing in Lagos, the advantage of what you are seeing in Lagos. What Asiwaju did was to begin a development plan. He carried the plan to a large extent. In fact, when he was to exit in 2017, 2007, it was a fact that there were certain projects he had even done at that time that were ready for commissioning. He said, no, I will not commission these projects. Let Fashola, who is just coming in, let him start with something. Let him commission these projects and then continue from there. And then that roadmap that was launched in 2005, it is called the Lagos Transformation Development Plan or something. I'm trying to remember the full title, but it was launched in 2005 by Asiwaju. It was a plan, a rolling plan. And that is a plan that Fashola began to execute faithfully, handed over to Ambode. He executed it faithfully to some extent, and then Sanwo-Olu continues with that. Now, you cannot cry more than the bereaved, or how do they call it, or the holier than the Pope. You are talking about being a slap to Fashola, being a slap to Ambode. But these gentlemen are attesting to the fact that they are executing a plan handed over to them by Asiwaju. So what else are we talking about? Have you seen Fashola come out to fight Asiwaju on these achievements, or Ambode or Sanwo-Olu? That is actually the envy of most politicians, why they are attacking Asiwaju left and right. He is an envy to every politician in Nigeria. How he does it, people don't know. That his successors in office and all, they are all very loyal to him. They give credit to him. They don't fight him publicly because they attest to his leadership. That is the envy, my brother. Why they are envious of Asiwaju? Every politician in Nigeria wants to be like Asiwaju, but they cannot be. So this is the point. Asiwaju's record in Lagos is an APC record. So we have every right, and we are proud to campaign on those records. As to the federal government, we're also proud to campaign on the successes of the Buhari administration in the last 8 years. Even though Asiwaju was not directly involved in governance, he was not a minister, he was not an advisor, he was not in any shape or form with the government. However, he too is proud of the successes of the Buhari administration, successes in infrastructure development, successes in agriculture, especially in diversifying the economy from a mono economy. Look at the last GDP that was released by the MBS. Agriculture for the first time is doing close to 25% in terms of a contribution to the GDP. For the first time, we have overtaken Egypt in rice production. We are number 1 in Africa in rice production for the first time in decades. So these are the successes of the Buhari administration that we are proud of. So it's a combination of all of these successes we are campaigning upon. And then people will come and say, oh, yes, people are suffering and all of that. They are. We do recognize that. However, we are trying to patiently explain to Nigerians, and we are doing that in a very humble manner, that there are global issues surrounding inflation, surrounding, GDPs of nation, borrowings, and all of that. I mean, there are global issues. Even the rise in energy prices, because of the Russia-Ukraine war, there's energy crisis all over the world. We are patiently explaining to Nigerians and begging them to please call their relatives in all parts of the world. There's hardly any family that does not have a relative in Canada or US, in Europe. Just pick your phone. You don't have to go too far. We don't have to convince you. We don't have to Google. Pick your phone. Just call a relative and say, oh boy, what is happening there in terms of oil prices, in terms of fuel, in terms of food inflation? They will tell them. Say, no, not worry. Now the same thing here. As the happen for Nigeria, we're not lucky. We're not get lucky. Say, now they produce their own food to chop. Just imagine if we are still importing rice now. Just imagine how much dollars we are going to be looking for to pay for the rice we're importing. But we are not doing that again. That's saving our massive earning in dollar. We are saving that. So I am only saying this to say that it is not all gloom. It's not all gloom, like the opposition would like to paint all the time. That's all they campaign upon. The only thing they campaign upon is, what was price of rice in 2015? What is price of rice now? These are base sentiment. They appeal to base sentiment. They should also tell Nigerians what was the price of things in 1999 when PDP took over, and what was the price of things in 2015 when they were existing. Did the prices remain static? Prices don't remain static. It's only a foolish person that will listen to a campaign person saying that prices have not remained static. Even in Britain, prices have not remained static. All over our history, prices have never remained static. And it is not measured by saying that, to say that a government is worse than the other because of prices. If it is so, that means progressively since 1960, every succeeding government has been worse than the previous one because prices never remain static. Never. But then you look at, one, the policies the government have put in place, whether, of course, earnings also remain static. Our minimum wage have also increased. It was 18,000 by the time Jonathan left. It's 30,000 now. Our minimum wage, and we will also increase again. I know it's progressive, but I know very soon the minimum wage will also go up again. What we were earning during the Udoji Awards in 1974-73 is not what we are earning now during Gowon's time. So people should not just deceive Nigerians. We are going to meet them on the campaign trail, and we're going to argue these issues point for point. Point for point. We will.
Okay. Prof.
Yeah, Honorable Minister, before you meet on the campaign train, you are here with us. And you have to deal with us first. And I'm just wondering two things. I think there's a lot of overlooking very important data in your response to the previous query. For instance, you were talking about prices, which is fine. I mean, prices are never static. There's inflation and all of that. But, we don't talk about those things just on their merits. We talk about it in terms of the relative wage level or purchasing power of ordinary Nigerians. And I think that's where people are crying. And when you then put this side by side with the fact that our record in terms of poverty reduction for a progressive party like the APC, it leaves a lot to be expected because by 2018, we have become the poverty capital of the world. Then secondly, in terms of the performance in Lagos, I'm sure you are aware that in the recent ranking of cities, and of course those rankings are based on major cities across the world, because I know that you have argued somewhere that other cities in Nigeria did not appear on the ranking. I think there are specific cities that have always been on the ranking, and we are happy that Lagos State is the city from Nigeria that is there. It doesn't really have a good performance in terms of the conditions of life in the city. And in terms of the Lagos transformation plan, there are two very important infrastructure that was on that plan that, to our dismay,
I would have loved to answer your question first, because you just made a comment now. You didn't allow me to respond.
No. I want you to take the two of them. I want you to take the two of them. They are related.
Okay,
they are related.
I don't want to mix things up.
No. You just take the two of them, because I may not have a chance to ask again. The point is we have the Fort Mainland Bridge. It's been there since that time. And then we also have the Lagos-Badagry train that is supposed to have been completed for more than 15 years. Is here on the... So when you talk about the performance, these situations creates a very big question mark. And I think you need to talk about that in terms of the federal government and also the state government, as you have been doing.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me take the first one first. And I'm sure you also heard my arguments the other forum too. I'm sure you listened to that forum where we talked about the ranking of major cities across the world. It is even not true to say that it is just they just pick one major city in every country to rank them. In Nigeria, Lagos is not the only major city. Ibadan is a major city. But in fact, Ibadan came ahead of Lagos in terms of its development with many years when it was the headquarters of the Western region. I'd always ranked Ibadan very high. Till today, I'll give anything to live in Ibadan too. Then we have major cities too, like Abuja, like FCT. We have the coal city, Enugu. Coal city had always been a historical city in the east. We have Kano in the north. These are historical cities. Kaduna, for example. But in terms of measurability, they took only Lagos because they felt that it qualifies to even be measured. In other countries, like South Africa, they took Johannesburg and Cape Town. There are many countries, even in Africa, they did not take only one city. They took 2, 3 major cities. Here, we are proud that it was even only Lagos that made it into that ranking arena. It did not fall below even the horizon. It came within the horizon of measurability. So we are proud of that first to start with. The second one is what I mentioned in that program. Go and look at that report I think the report was released in 2022, but it was a 2021 assessment. And they said that the reason for this latest assessment was simply that they were looking strictly at the COVID-19 lockdowns and the ease with which all these cities opened up for people to come and live in those cities and enjoy their lives. And they said the major reason for ranking of Lagos and these other cities was because many of them did not open up on time for people to come and enjoy their lives. Pubs, restaurants, and all those normal restrictions when you were traveling to those cities. Remember, up till 2-3 months ago, we were still required to do COVID tests, to cover our noses, to do in public places, and all those very strenuous things. And so they said that was why they were ranking it like that. It was not an easy city to live with because of this COVID-19 pandemic. That was the latest ranking. Of course, in that program, the anchor went ahead to quote a 2018 report. And I said, well, the 2018 report, first of all, does not even overtake that of 2022. You cannot quote the 2018 report for a 2022 campaign. That is gone. But secondly, and the most important in 2018 report, he did not give us the movement of Lagos. Where was Lagos before it moved to that point in 2018? So it is the movement, was it progressing or digress or going down? Because the point we made about Asiwaju's leadership in Lagos is that it is not El Dorado. We are not saying Lagos is heaven. When you enter Lagos, you go and live in heaven. We are saying that there has been a significant improvement from where it was in 1999, and it continues to progress. It continues to improve. That is the point we are making. So you cannot take a report 2018 out of a context and say this is what the report says. Tell us what happened in 2016, 2015, 2014, 2013, and whether there was a progressive movement before you now come to 2018. They could not tell us.
Okay.
About that. So that's the point we made about that. Okay. The other issue.
Okay.
I go to the next issue?
Yes, I know you will respond to the next issue, but you will do that just after this commercial break. Please stay tuned. Don't go away.
Okay.
nílé iṣẹ́ Danabi Zomes and Property bẹ́ẹ̀ bá ti ń sanwó tán láàmú fún yín lẹ̀ ká lọ kábọ̀ kan ò sí. bẹ́ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ bá bá wa dòwò pọ̀ kò sí OGBOGU lórí ọ̀rọ̀ tiwa àtúntiwa jẹ́ state tuntun ọ̀ṣàrà Joyce Court and Garden lápẹ́ kò jìnnà rárá sí kọ́lára yìí sí yunifásitì bẹ́ẹ̀ ló tún dojú kọ Bethel American International School ìròkò fìdítì lójú ọ̀nà Ìbàdàn sílùú Ọ̀yọ́ ₦550,000 là ń ta plọ̀tì Favour Estate tiwa náà tó ń bẹ ní Mòwe ₦1.2 million ní plọ̀tì kan Victory Estate phase 1 tó ń bẹ ní Alábàtàmọ́ níyà Ìbàdàn 5-minute drive sí ní railway terminal ₦800,000 ní plọ̀tì kan Victory Estate phase 2 ₦850,000 ní plọ̀tì kan o Treasure Estate tó ń bẹ ní Dowo ₦650,000 ní plọ̀tì kan sanwó ẹ̀ tán kó o gbalẹ̀ ní nílé iṣẹ́ wa àǹfààní àti san díẹ̀ wà nílé iṣẹ́ Danabi's Homes and Property a wà ní Primetime Plaza ọba Alẹ́ṣinlọ́yẹ̀ phase 2 lẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ Bidin petrol station Alẹ́ṣinlọ́yẹ̀ Ìbàdàn 0904-779-7352 0818-841-8137.
Sumbo, why are you going looking like you want to beat somebody? See me see trouble o. Abeg, see wetin I order. See wetin dem deliver give me. E resemble, and I don pay online. Chai, na why I like to buy on Jumia. I fit return wetin I buy for free within 7 days after it has been delivered to me. And you tell me before o, na Jumia I go dey buy from now. But first, Dazin Apparel, na me and you today. Sumbo. Enjoy the peace of mind that comes with free returns when you shop on Jumia. Terms and conditions apply. Jumia, your everyday delivered.
ǹlẹ́ ń bẹ̀ ń wo ǹjẹ́ ìwọ ọmọkọ̀ wà bí? ṣówó ẹ̀ láti máa rówó tó rú gọ́gọ́ gẹ́gẹ́ bí akọ́ṣẹ́mọṣẹ́ awakọ̀? bó bá wá rí bẹ́ẹ̀ òpin ti dé báyìí níṣẹ́ lọ́wọ́ nìyẹn o. ìwọ náà wàá jẹ́ àǹfààní tí iléeṣẹ́ alálùbáríkà TGR City Transport gbé kalẹ̀ tẹ àtẹ̀jíṣẹ́ orúkọ rẹ àtàgbègbè tó wà ṣọwọ́ ránṣẹ́ sí 081 52 52 51 43 tàbí kó kàn sí iléeṣẹ́ TGR City Transport tó wà nílé funfun Báláú lẹ́yìn AP filling station òpópónà Secretariat Bódìjà Ìbàdàn. Hey, my correct country people, shey una sabi drive? Abi shey una wan dey chopulate better money as a professional correct driver? Oh yeah, come chop this better opportunity wey TGR City Transport carry come your domot. Text their name plus location to 081 52 52 51 43. Abi make you kukuma dey forward march come to we office wey dey White House building behind AP filling station, Secretariat Road, Bodija Ibadan. TGR City Transport. Better driver, better money.
lórí ètò òṣèlú ẹ pàdé Peter Ọlásùpọ̀ Captain P2 pẹ̀lú àwọn ọ̀jìnì olóṣèlú tí ó máa gbà lálejò láti mọ ibi tí nǹkan dé dúró lórílẹ̀‐èdè yìí àti ní ìpínlẹ̀ wa lórí ètò òṣèlú nílẹ̀ yìí kó ipa tirẹ̀ nípa gbígbọ́ ìkànnì 32 FM 94.9 ní gbogbo ọjọ́ ajé Monday láago 11 sí 12 ọ̀sán ètò òṣèlú àjọ máa gbọ́ ni.
All right, welcome back. It's the Podium on 32 FM 94.9. You can join us live on Facebook and on YouTube. Live on Facebook and on YouTube is at 32FM 949 Ibadan. 32FM 949 Ibadan. You can drop your messages there on YouTube and on Facebook. Also open the phone line serve later on for you to ask one or two questions on this segment of the Podium. Before we went on that break, our guest, Festus Keyamo, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, was answering some questions. You have the floor, Honorable Minister.
Thank you for yielding the floor again to me. I appreciate. Now, just to also a corollary to what I said earlier regarding the issue of Lagos State and the ranking, you can also see too that from our own empirical analysis, not even the ones that people outside this country try to do, people who don't live here, but from our own empirical analysis, we have known that in the last few years, Lagos has become almost the #1 destination of investment in the entire African continent. You can see the number of people coming into Lagos, foreign companies, foreign interests coming to invest in Lagos almost on a yearly basis. Compare that to other cities in Nigeria, and regrettably too, area where I come from, the Niger Delta, all the companies are leaving because of insecurity, because of problems, around those areas. They are all the foreign companies, and they have exited Warri, they have left Port Harcourt, they have left Bayelsa. Go and see how those towns are looking like ghost towns. Unfortunately, yes, but that's my area. is to tell you how important leadership is, to make sure a place is conducive for investment. Now, are we not seeing that happening in Lagos? Put report aside, are we not seeing that happening in Lagos? Are we seeing the heaps of refuse that we used to take over the streets of Lagos, dead bodies on the street? Are we seeing that again? Are we seeing all the mollues that you used to see in Lagos, the type of chaos you used to have with mollues and danfos all over Lagos again? Are we not seeing the air-conditioned buses now that have taken over Lagos streets in the last years? Are we not seeing that with our eyes before we look at foreign people coming to try to grade our city for us? We are seeing that ourselves. Are we not? Don't we know how Bar Beach used to drive everybody out of VI before when it overflowed during rainy season like this? Are we not seeing the modern city built out of Bar Beach now with our two eyes? Are we not seeing the development along the shoreline now in Lagos, all the way from Ozumbamba, all the way to the Lekki corridor? That shoreline, how it was before, and the kind of development we're seeing along that shoreline now. Are we not seeing it with our two eyes? We are brothers. Forget politics now. Let's put politics aside and let us give, credit to where credit, deserve, where we need to give credit. I mean, it's unfortunate at times that we are so hooked on foreign reports of people who are not even here at all. Even though I've addressed the report frontally, yes, I've got it figure for figure, fact for fact, but I'm only looking at empirical analysis of what we see on the ground. So unfortunately, I even disagree with such like the Commissioner of Information Lagos State called it a dubious report. But I just didn't want to dismiss the report like that, so that people say that we don't want to look at statistics. However, that is for that. On the other issue that you raised about Nigerians living below the poverty line, what we have is not salutary. So let me start from that. I cannot be coming to grandstand when it comes to the welfare of Nigerians. It's not good to grandstand and to say that, where everything is El Dorado. We have many Nigerians who are still poor. We have many Nigerians who are still living below the poverty line, and regrettably so too. However, because you tried to make a comparative analysis, you did, and said we are now, the poverty capital of the world. But I respectfully disagree. What happened with that statistics was that India, it's not that we declined. India just overtook us in terms of the progress India made. And that was the report of, you are quoting a report of 2019. I mean, that was when that report came out. Our figures went up, we progressed, but India progressed faster. So India was the poverty capital of the world before. But however, if you look at the numbers, the IMF figure tells you that in 2012, we had 112 million people living below the poverty line. And I want everybody to fact check me on this. IMF report 2012. And that was the time the previous government was in place. When we were in government in 2018, the poverty line, those living below poverty line, came down to 88 or 89 million or thereabouts. So it's not like we declined. It's just that the nations around us moved faster and higher than us. It's just that, I'll give an example. In a class, this term you may have taken second to last or third to last. You may have scored maybe 6 over 10. That's why you took second to last.
Honorable Minister, for sake of time, Honorable Minister, for the sake of time, we'd love to finish with this segment, so we go to another question.
Okay.
So,
so let me not give examples, but that's my frontal answer to that. Let me not give further examples.
Okay.
To back it up.
Okay, Barrister Yomi Ogunlola.
Yes. Thank you very much, Chike. Now, Honorable Minister, I listened to you passionately selling Tinubu. I wish to ask 2 questions for purposes of clarification. To me, it appears you are clothing Tinubu in an unmerited garb. Firstly, as a Democrat yourself, do you think Tinubu allegedly holding Lagos by the jugular, deciding who gets what, where, when, and how, since 1999, is ideal for a nascent democracy? That's number one. Secondly, I heard you crediting Tinubu for making strong men like Fashola, Aregbe, Banire, Ambode, and so on, and that they are not opposing him. But it is common knowledge that Aregbe, Banire, Ambode, and so on are no longer on the same page with him. Indeed, Aregbe accused him of playing God. Now, my question is this. Former President Obama, on a visit to Ghana, gave a speech which still resonates, that Africa should build strong institutions rather than strong individuals. From the records, it appears even Tinubu does not believe in the institutions of Lagos State, leading him to empower, for example, Alpha Beta to perform the functions of LIRS. So, what do you say to those two questions?
It's about 3 questions, so just give me time to answer them.
Okay.
The first one is about his democratic credentials and holding Lagos by the jugular. I disagree with you. What he has just done is that he has, by his leadership, supported certain persons to succeed him. And by God's divine, intervention, luck has smiled on him. The fact that he's a former governor of Lagos State does not mean that he will not have the right to support whoever he wants to support. Other candidates have run for some of those primaries, and they lost. I remember in 2015, it was not only Ambode that was on the cards when he went to the primaries. Other candidates were there. It's just leadership. He did not put a gun to anybody's head. If you know the model of what they run in Lagos State too, there's what they call, I think, the Governor Advisory Council. So where you have major stakeholders in the panel that determine, in many cases, the succession plan of Lagos State. It's not him, the person. There's a GAC, the Governorship Advisory Council, if I'm sure I'm getting the name correctly. He put that in place.
You're right. It's the governorship.
You're right.
Let me finish. I beg you to finish. I beg you that. I want to finish so that I will make my thoughts clear.
Right.
So that is a structure within the APC made up of major elders, very, cerebral people that look at issues and advise, so either incumbent governments, and of course they look at credentials of those who want to run for governorship of Lagos State, and they decide who to support. That is how it is run. It's not about Tinubu. Tinubu is wrong. And let me also tell you, too, that all over Nigeria, we are talking about Tinubu alone. I want you to tell me one governor, since 1999, that has not been interested in his successor or his successors to the office. Not one, all of them. That is why I say there's the envy about Asiwaju, and many of them failed. So it's to tell you that Asiwaju is not God. It is his leadership and his love, the love for him, that make people go along with his choices. So if you don't provide that kind of leadership, they won't go. They will revolt. They won't go ahead with. They won't go along with his choices. Many people have succeeded in planting successors, and within 2 months, the successors revolt against them. You know them all over the country, all over the state. I don't want to start mentioning names now. That successors parted ways with their predecessors within 2 months of coming to office. They threw them in the locked the government house that they should not come in again. Why? It's because some of those ones they're greedy enough. They want to continue to control government. But the fact that Asiwaju continues to retain his poise, his elegance and leadership shows that he is doing something right. Why? Now that also dovetails into your next question. That he raised people and they revolted against him. I was not talking about generally. Of course, you will have people once in a while who will disagree with you here and there. And I don't want to know who is right or wrong. Aregbe is like an elder brother to me. We're in cabinet together. I was talking specifically about those who succeeded him in Lagos State. That is what I'm talking about. And none of them have come out openly to accuse him of anything. Not one. There was a slight problem with Ambode, of course, regarding his second term. I don't want to go into that. And there was an issue of the fact that Asiwaju said the matter was beyond him. that he was even the one begging for him. But the GAC, and I mentioned the GAC before, a major stakeholder said they did not want him for one reason or the other, which I don't want to go into too, because Ambode is like an elder brother to me.
The same thing.
But
The same thing happened to Fashola before his second term too.
No. There was a disagreement about Fashola with some other stakeholders. They were all trying to paint it and drag in Asiwaju to it. At every point in time, they were dragging Asiwaju. He had a disagreement with the House of Assembly of Lagos State. Fashola is an elder brother to me too, whom I respect so well. But there were normal political disagreements with the House of Assembly. And guess what? You are even talking to somebody who was involved in that case, because in that case, I was hired by the House of Assembly. I was the lead counsel to the House of Assembly of Lagos State then. You know, when they had a problem with Fashola. Well, all that is history now. But then, they were trying to link it to Asiwaju. But you know what Asiwaju came to say? He said at the end of the day, he said, look, Fashola is my candidate for second term. Despite all these problems, he came and raised the hand of Fashola. Okay, so that is and then up till now, you heard Fashola's interview 3-4 weeks ago. Fashola said, look, Asiwaju is the best person to that he wants with Asiwaju, that there's no better candidate now. So people are always wishing crisis on Asiwaju in Lagos, but it's not happening. I know that how much they have been goading Ambode in the last few months. People have been saying, talk, oppose him openly and all that. Ambode is one of the best Omoluabi we have. He's so cultured. He knows everything about leadership. Even when at the end of the day, in 2019, he did not get it. This is the envy of the entire nation. After all the agreement and all that, you saw him, he started backing Shonwolu. He was on Shonwolu's campaign trail. He was. He followed Shonwolu everywhere and raised the hand of Shonwolu. That is the beauty of the democracy that we run in Lagos. And that is the envy of all. That is the kind of template and model that Asiwaju has put on the ground in Lagos State. So please, in the name of God, you cannot fault him. You must give him credit for holding, for this kind of leadership he has provided.
Okay, now let's look at the institutions of state. Would you say that Asiwaju built institutions, enduring institutions in Lagos, institutions that will endure even after, by the special grace of God, he lives old enough and passes the mantle to others? I am looking at that, like I said, Alpha Beta replacing LIRS appears to be.
Let me tell you this. Yeah. I wanted to answer that question. Okay. I'm even surprised you are raising that question. Even the federal government runs PPP. Don't you know what they call PPP? Everybody runs the most efficient thing all over the world now is PPP. Government cannot run efficiently some of these things at times. Government cannot. You have to. Private sector participation in government is the key to opening government at times now, and to raising revenues all over the world. Don't behave and don't talk as if Lagos is doing something strange.
Honorable Minister, PPP is different from a contract.
Hold on. Let me. Yes. Have they performed? That's just the question you should ask. A simple question: have they performed? From raising revenues from 600 million a month to about 51 billion a month, have they performed? Yes or no? That's all. Every other thing peters into nothingness, into insignificance. Once you see that there's performance, that's all I need to know. Once they are performed, that the case is closed. That means they did something right. And all the talk, the immorality about that, is not about a private company coming to help to raise the revenues. It's about whether he owns the private company. And we have said no, and no. Go to CAC, go to everywhere, go and dig even Pandora papers everywhere. His name is not linked to the company in any way at all, in any shape or form. But people will not let the matter rest because of mischief.
All right.
He's not there.
All right, Honorable Minister. Dear listener, you can join this discussion on Facebook. You can drop your messages. We're live on Facebook and on YouTube. It's at 32FM 949 Ibadan. The phone lines are open to 0705 5000 949 and 0809 7000 949. Before the phone calls come in, let me ask you this question. The running mates to Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the upcoming elections, Kashim Shettima, he made a statement at the NBA conference in Lagos saying that Asiwaju will run the economy while he will run security. Does this not smell doom in waiting if the tag team eventually win the polls, as to who will be the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. Is it the vice president or the president himself? That's the question I have this morning for you, Honorable Minister.
There's no controversy there. The president has every right and powers to assign responsibility to anybody, including the vice president. If you look at the constitution, my learned friend there knows it even more than myself. Open the constitution, the vice president and all ministers of government, they are the beck and call at the behest of the president. They can just assign anything to them to go and do, including security matters too. If it were so, you won't have a minister of defense. If that's what we are saying, that does not make the minister of defense now the commander-in-chief. But we have a minister of defense, and the president assigns some responsibilities to the minister of defense, and those responsibilities, they have to do with security too. So the president can assign anything to anybody. He can say, look, the vice president, look, report back to me, but go and be in charge of this. Go and be in charge of security to a certain extent, and report back to me. There's no controversy about that.
Okay.
There's during the, I think there was, if I get my history correctly, during the war with Al Qaeda or so, I think they put a vice president more in charge of some of the security matters in America.
Sorry, I have to cut you short, Honorable Minister. The listeners want to contribute at this moment. We pick some calls now. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Your name and where you're calling from. Make it very brief. 30 seconds.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Ola is my name.
Where is Ola calling from? Where is Ola calling from?
Ibadan. I'm calling from Ibadan here. I'm so surprised when I heard the Honorable Commissioner.
Not Commissioner, Honorable Minister.
Honorable Minister.
Yeah.
Praising somebody that is an Omoluabi person. But Tinubu knew that the man was, Tinubu knew that man performed excellently when he was governor of Lagos State. And Tinubu single-handedly blocked him from his second term. And the man is not on here now, praising that man, praising Tinubu. How are we going to believe them? And I want to have that man, that Kayamu, now, because I won't be surprised. If his party fails and he now moves to the party in power, I won't be surprised because I know his character. Now, my question is this. With the way this country is going, with the way this country is going, in terms of economy, we are zero. In terms of security, we are zero. I've never seen any single thing.
Okay, you've made your point. Thank you, Ola. You've made your point. Let's pick this second call so we take everything together.
No. I want to be taking them one by one. Okay, please let me take people one by one.
Okay, you want to take it one after the other.
I didn't hear what he said.
Okay, we have a caller on the line. I'll get back to you, Honorable Minister. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Your name and where you're calling from?
Adewale from Ibadan. Now, we have listened to the minister. Anyway, I would just want to talk about the program. Tinubu is vying the presidency on the platform of APC that are.
Okay, we'll get back to the phone lines. Honorable Minister, the first caller talked about.
I think you need to repeat all the questions. I didn't hear anything.
Yeah, he talked about you praising Tinubu after praising Ambode after what Tinubu did to him. Ousting him, debarring him from getting a second term. And he was also talking about the insecurity issues in Nigeria, the economic woes in Nigeria that are still there, and then your party is coming out again saying they want to continue. Do they want to continue from where the president stopped, or what different thing is the party coming to do? That's his question.
Okay, so please, let me answer that one very, very clearly. I said before that you cannot be crying more than the bereaved. The Ambode you are talking about supported Sanwo-Olu. So what else do you want beyond that? It was also the same as Shiwaju. It was not that Ambode had one big political track. I'm saying that with all respect to him, not to denigrate him. Had one big political track record before too, and came to be governor of Lagos State on his own steam. It was the same as Shiwaju that supported him from nowhere. From nowhere, brought him, supported him, not imposed him, but supported him. and he won free and fair. He's a primaries and became governor of Lagos State with the support of Asiwaju.
Sorry,
and at a point
sorry.
when
Honorable
the structures of the party.
Honorable Minister.
Hello?
Honorable Minister, I am sorry I have to cut in.
Sometimes I'm not giving chance to treat these questions well.
Okay.
And people go away with wrong impression. That's the problem.
That's
why at times I don't take live programs like this with phone calls, because you will not get the time to treat people's questions well.
That's why correct. It is better to be very brief.
Because the young man came,
in your
expressed
responses.
anger, went now,
Absolutely.
and nobody's giving chance to, and he goes away with that impression. But I am here in order to win him over. I'm here to win him over, to answer his question, and to win him over. So for me, if we take only one question, it's enough for me. It's better to win one soul over than to take 10 questions and you can't win any soul over. For me, that's my style.
Yeah, okay. Minister, I do agree with you. We are constrained by time. There's no doubt about it. But I think majorly what the gentleman was
if we have time constraints, then don't take calls again when I cannot answer them.
Okay,
please.
Okay, but I just wanted to point out something you just said now, that Tinubu Ambode came from nowhere. Would that be a very, honest representation for that individual who was an accountant?
So let me I said that with all respect to him. I said not that he had a political trajectory, that he was he was a frontline runner. And I said that.
Yeah.
Well, he was a good technocrat. He was an accountant. I think he was the accountant of Lagos or something.
Yeah,
he was a very, very good technocrat. But it's not that he was a front runner in terms of those who wanted to succeed Fashola. That's the point. And I said that with all respect to him, not to denigrate him.
Yeah.
It was the same as Asiwaju that supported him, brought him out and supported him. Okay. That's the point I made.
Okay.
And I'm making it with all sense of respect.
All right.
The other man talked about economic woes everywhere, insecurity too. Let me just answer him. I don't want to take any call, but I need to answer him.
Go ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
And I want him to appeal. I appeal to him. I saw the anger in his voice and all that, but these are things at times that are fed to them by opposition without listening to us. And I want to appeal to that gentleman that if he has any relative now in any part of Europe or America, he should pick his phone and call the man and say, what is happening to food prices? What is happening to fuel prices? What is happening to that in America and Europe? They will tell him that this is a global problem. That is all I am saying. And I am appealing to people. I made that point before, except people they want to block their minds to reasoning. Because there are some people you cannot win over during electionary campaign. They have made up their minds. If you have made up your mind, fine enough, but don't go and feed people lies again. Okay. As if it is only in Nigeria you are having that problem. Ghana's economy is almost collapsing now. IMF has put Ghana on a red now, that Ghana is my bankrupt. Go and check. They are doing 104% of their debt to GDP ratio. We are still doing 25% of our debt to GDP ratio. Go and look at South Africa, the almighty South Africa, they are doing 80% of their debt to GDP ratio. Go and look at Egypt. Egypt, they were in crisis with their wheat importation a few months ago, because they were depending on importing wheat solely from Ukraine. And there was a war, and so that's their staple food, and there was food crisis. Okay. Lebanon recently had to go and take $150 million loan from the World Bank to guarantee food security in Lebanon. We are not doing that because we are self-sufficient in our own food production. We can eat our local food.
Okay, Honorable Minister.
So I want to appeal to people, beg people to know that things are worse. It could have been worse, and they are worse in other parts of the world.
Okay, Honorable.
That's the point I'm making.
Honorable Minister, the atmosphere has been a little charged, So let's calm it down. Let's calm it down.
Let's calm it down.
Are you obedient? Because you are also saying go and verify now. Are you obedient?
Hello? I'm here.
Okay. I said let's calm the tension. The tension in the air. So I was.
No, there's no tension. There's no tension. It's just a discussion.
Okay. Now I was asking. I said, are you obedient? Because you are also saying we should go and verify now.
I'm I'm very disobedient. I'm batified. Totally batified.
You are batified.
Yeah.
Okay. Lastly, before we round up, Honorable Minister, before we round up this conversation today, you are Minister of State for Labor and Productivity and
employment.
Employment. And now the issue on ground, the ASU issue, has been lingering for about 8 months. By next week, it will be 8 months. 14th of October will make it 8 months. Your ministry has been liaising with ASU. What will be the end of this lingering crisis between the federal government and ASU? This should be the concluding part of this interview.
Well, I don't want to go too much and dwell too much on that because the matter is in court. But the long and short of the story is that the Court of Appeal has ended the matter. The Court of Appeal has said they should go back to court, go back to the classes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. That's a very good one.
Okay. That was so.
It's as simple as that. It has ended. The Court of Appeal said go back to classes or we will not even hear your appeal. That's what the Court of Appeal said yesterday.
Oh yeah.
That we will not even hear your appeal until you go back.
Yeah.
Go back to classes.
Okay. So we just wait for ASU to do
the long
the
and short
needful.
of the story is that. Let me tell you the long and short of the story.
Yes.
This is not a government that will be pushed to sign agreements that will give the next government problems. The problem that we are facing today, and people, they can write any kind of headline because they said I'm always blaming PDP. I'm not blaming anybody. I'm just stating a fact that the thing that put us in this problem today was the agreement signed in 2009 that was unimplementable by the PDP government. I'm sorry, but that's the fact. We are not pushing the blame. We are not saying we are going to run away from it. But they signed an agreement that was unimplementable. And the president is not the one, this government, not under our watch, to push us to sign an agreement. I should just say sign, we'll go back. We said no. These are things that will give problem to the next government. The type of demands they are making. So the overall, for me, the long-term problem to our educational problem in Nigeria is that we have to find a way to make education available to the poorest of the poor. But at the same time, we have to balance that with finding a way to fund education outside government.
Okay. Honorable Minister, lastly, when is your campaign starting off officially?
We will make the announcements in...
Nigerians can't wait. They can't wait to see the city boy move around the city.
Guess what? In 2019, campaigns officially began November 18, 2018. We did not inaugurate our campaign council until January 7, 2019, 50 days later. And when we started, people saw us, and then we used that momentum and swept ourselves to the poll and to victory. So we are more experienced than all these obedient.
So you want to replicate the 2018
be running. Prof, allow them to be running. When the big boys come out, they will say, they will understand.
Okay, they are running. You are riding.
They can be running up and down.
And you are riding.
So at this moment you are on the treadmill. You're on the treadmill doing your exercise. You're on the treadmill right now.
We are doing press up. We are doing our press up.
You are warming up. Honorable Minister Festus Keyamo, thank you for featuring on the podium this morning. And I hope when the campaign starts, we'll also reach out to you again and let's have issue-based campaigns from your party.
Yes, we will.
And my own part in short, I am so happy for today, and thank you very much for doing Great Ife proud. You are a good ambassador of our university.
Unfortunately, I did not go to Ife. I went to Ekpoma. But everybody
really?
has to Ife. But I have some honorary membership from Ife. They gave me student union. They gave me membership, but I went to Ekpoma.
Okay, because I was wondering. Okay, yes, you're right. Well, all the same.
Yes,
thank you very much for being a guest.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
All right, Prof, you have your parting shots.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure talking to you, and I hope that the resumption of ASU on the basis of court order would not put to rest the challenges ahead. I think you're working on that as well.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Honorable Minister Festus Keyamo, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, for featuring on the podium this morning. We'll do this more often, carry Nigerians along. And clear off some things in the air. Like he said, he wants to be an evangelist. He wants to get some people, win some souls to the APC. Let's see how far he'll be able to doing that anytime soon in the nearest future.
Amen. Thank you.
Yeah.
So if
egbògi kan ti délẹ̀ yìí egbògi àtẹ̀jẹ̀ ṣe ni ó dára fẹ̀jẹ̀ gidi gan Veneto cleanser ló ń jẹ́ o. Veneto cleanser ló ń jẹ́ o.
ojú rẹ̀ ṣàǹjọ̀lọ̀ lójoojúmọ́ kí làṣírí ẹ wà rí.
Veneto cleanser ni.
já mi sí ọ̀rẹ́.
Veneto cleanser egbògi àtẹ̀jẹ̀ṣe tí bàdọ̀tí ara wọ̀ yá ìjà rẹ̀ wọ́n mọ́lẹ̀ ṣe wọ́n yẹbẹyẹbẹ. inú tó ń kú tó ń dàrú gbòdògbòdò kò bára rẹ̀ èrí inú ẹ̀jẹ̀. amọ̀nà ti dé o. Veneto cleanser egbògi àtẹ̀jẹ̀ṣe tí a fi ewé àti egbò ṣe ní ọ̀nà tìgbàlódé. NAFDAC fòǹtẹ̀lù MA1 Nigeria Limited ni wọ́n gbé Veneto cleanser jáde. a wà ní nọ́mbà 17 ọba akínyẹlé off Adeogun Street Aláàfin Avenue Olúyọ̀lé Estate Ring Road Ìbàdàn. telephone 08034051533 fún títà àti rírà. ìwọ náà darapọ̀ mọ́ wa. Veneton cleanser àmọ̀tẹ́kùn egbòogi tí ń ya gbogbo kòkòrò inú ẹ̀jẹ̀ wẹ́lẹ́wẹ́lẹ́.
Safasa pelisizo simnyama Iwasafa Isizo saba Kamula mo Anichaleni ko Kelize Wemaye wemodo Safasa pelisizo simnyama Iwasafa Isizo saba Kamula mo Anichaleni ko Kelize Wemaye ngiyakhala Basafasa pelisizo sinyama Iwasafa Isizwe sabantu Alamula Angijaleni nkokelize Wemaye wemodo
Welcome back to the podium. On this segment of the podium, we'll be moving to another topic entirely. In 2018-2019, a third force came up in Oyo State. It was called the African Democratic Congress, the ADC. And after the 2019 election that brought in Engineer Seyi Makinde into power, through a fusion, they called it a coalition, the party somewhat disintegrated. Many of its members joined the PDP. Today, where is the ADC in Oyo State? The African Democratic Congress. It had the likes of Wasiu Olatubosun, who eventually joined the PDP. We had Monsura Sumonu and several others. These people have aligned with the present government in Oyo State. On the 6th of September 2022, the Oyo State chapter of the African Democratic Congress, the ADC, moved towards crisis as the State Executive Council alleged that some members who are in cahoots with the governor of Oyo State, Engineer Seyi Makinde-led administration, have finalized plans to invite and induce the National Executive Council to dissolve the State Executive Council. Does the ADC still exist in Oyo State? I have the spokesperson of the ADC in Oyo State here in the studios this morning. And his name is Barrister Adebimpe Adelowo. Barrister, it's good to have you on the show this morning.
It's a pleasure to be here. Good morning, and our listeners at home, happy weekend.
Happy weekend to you.
Happy weekend to everyone.
Your party has been in crisis since the 2019 elections. I guess you went through a pandemic and you never recovered from that crash in 2019.
But political crisis is not peculiar to a particular political parties. You remember even by now, we have the big boys, the one we can tag as a big boys, PDP, APC, they have even their own crisis is more than what we can describe here on the podium.
Calling the PDP and the APC and the likes the big boys, you relegated yourself to being the small boys. We are
not kids. They are small boys. They are, what we try to mention is that because in the high of law, every political party is equal. But when some political party have access to state funds, state resources, they tend to be bigger than even the society itself. You know that even the bigger than the Nigerian, Nigeria we are talking about. That is why they misbehave. They could not even really align with the right feelings of the people of Nigeria. So you tend to give them that status. So big for nothing. Not that they big to bring any advantage to the politics.
You know, somebody can be big for nothing, and somebody can also be small for nothing.
Small but mighty.
But can be small for nothing.
We are small but mighty.
Let me ask you straight. Who is the chairman of the ADC in Oyo State?
In Oyo State, Honorable Adiuti Babatunde.
So what happened to the acting chairman, Reverend Ezekiel Adeniran?
Since we have restructured the party since 2020. That is 2020. It's not the latest news at all. That 2020 we have restructured, and then in early this year, about March, we had our Congress, whereby a new set of executive emerged.
But as I speak with you now, we have Reverend Ezekiel Adeniran saying that he is the acting chairman of the party.
You can't say that.
Even the acting publicity secretary of the party is Pastor David Orolade.
There is nobody bearing that. There's no one. Let's go to. I mean, we have to check our facts right. Who is the right authority to know the right structures of the party? If not for INEC, we'll find out all our correspondence with INEC. And when you check, go and check. So we sign, INEC relate with us. So there's nobody bearing that name in that capacity any longer.
Okay, let's move a little bit away from that. And I want to ask, was your party a part of the coalition that brought Seyi Makinde to government?
Definitely yes.
Or are you still with the PDP?
We are not with the PDP.
Are you still sharing government?
We are not sharing government.
What happened to you along the way?
What happened? Well, you see, immediately after the coalition, you know that some of our members were appointed to various positions, and immediately when those members feel that they cannot be loyal to the party that bring them to the government in the first place, so they have to part way with us.
They decamped. As ADC itself decamped to PDP?
No. We are still solid.
Are you sure?
Of course.
What have you been doing since 2019?
You see,
what have you been doing?
You just mentioned something now, coalition. Okay. You see, if you don't want to betray whatever agreement you have with the coalition arrangement, definitely you are good to go. Try to ensure that the reason you are in coalition in first place is to deliver good governance to the people of Oyo State. And in view of that, we try to support the government of the day until that point.
Okay, so are you still supporting the government?
By now, we are preparing for 2023.
You want to fight him?
We are not fighting anybody. You
want to stand alone now?
We are standing alone. We are running. Of course.
No more coalition.
No more coalition. Because now, when you check the record of INEC, the release of the final publications of INEC, both the National Assembly, you see that we have our members fill up all the necessary available positions.
Well, and that's why I asked you, since 2019, what have you been doing? Because ADC appears to have, gone into the shadows, and so I don't know. That's what I'm asking.
You know that when the issue of coalition has already, tag ADC in another, give another ADC another image. So until when we feel that, let's even do away with this kind of coalition, you know that many people will not even listen to what is happening thereafter. Even till this morning, many people will still be thinking that we are still in coalition. But ever since 2020, we have moved on.
Okay,
that is when we restructured.
If Sheyi Makinde reaches out to you, would you still be willing,
We are not ready to even have any coalition with any political party now.
And you think you can stand the might of PDP and APC?
It's not by, I said big for nothing. It's not by size.
Barrister Dowo.
Yes.
Your party, the African Democratic Congress, the ADC in Oyo State, the structure has been shattered.
Not at all.
Has been broken.
Not at all.
What structure do you have on ground? Even your gubernatorial candidate, Dr. Ganiyu Bamidele,
yes,
seem not to be in the eye of the public.
You see, the program I made when the senior advocate was had conversation the other time, he made mention that even in 2020 and in 2019, it's 50 days to the election. They started all their preparation. Eventually, they won. It's not how far; it's how well. Our candidate may not be in the eye of public. There are many things we may be doing underneath that will not be revealed, and that is the joker anyway. We don't reveal whatever. It's not by shouting, it's not by mounting board, it's not by having different kind of publicity in order to confuse the public.
Do your party hold any position presently? Did you win any election 2019 alone? Maybe
House of Assembly.
House of Assembly.
You mean in Oyo State or elsewhere?
No. We're looking at Oyo State.
Now, let me break it down this way, Barrister. In the Oyo State House of Assembly,
yes,
there is no representation of the ADC
because we refuse to have.
In the House of Reps, there is no representation of the ADC.
A similar thing happened.
In the Senate, there is no representation of the ADC. Even let's look more local here. In the local government elections. Yes. There is no representation of the ADC.
We have.
What local government?
We have at least councillors.
We're not talking about council. I'm talking about local government chairman.
Are they not part of they are elective posts.
I'm breaking it down. The local government chairman. You don't have
councillors.
We have about 24 councillors.
It's only councillors that you have.
24 councillors.
Now, those 24 councillors that you mentioned, because I was going there, I wanted to go from the local government to the councillors. Now, you have 24 councillors.
Yes. Which is more important even in politics and in society building.
But they don't have any might. They are irrelevant politically.
How do you mean?
Do they have autonomy? Do they take decisions?
Which autonomy you are talking about?
They don't.
They are making laws. Maybe we have not been your searchlight to the operations of the councillors in various local governments. Maybe if you had done that, you will know that they are making laws. Forget about it. It's a peculiar problem of Nigeria.
Some ADC councillors in Ido, I know some of them are very active there in Ido local government area.
Yes.
I met with a couple of them, and most of them, the 24, out of the 24 you talk about, majority of them are not with the ADC in actual sense. They are with the PDP.
They are with the PDP. In what sense? Why is there any proof that you want to tell us that they were the PDP?
The election will show us.
If you had which election? Which election you are talking about?
The coming election will show us.
You see, you don't mix issues.
Okay, let's hear from you.
You are telling us maybe they are with PDP.
Yeah.
Are they changed their name from? Their certificate of return. Are they withdrawing it from them?
Yeah, but you told us some of them decamped.
Appointees.
Political
appointees.
Okay, decamped to
the PDP. Political appointees.
Okay.
What are the plans?
How come we are not even hearing anything from the ADC councillors? Complaining about, this. Starving or starvation in the local government in terms of their allocations from
even
the
party
federal.
in power. Do you hear anything from their councillors.
So your guys decided to join the band?
No. They are trying their best. You see, when they are minority in that, you see where we have 15 or 10 councillors, and you have just 2 in most local government, 3 somewhere. Then what do you think will happen? You know the system of Nigeria, and something like this happen, and that is where we're supposed to look at. How can we make even local government effective? If we make local government effective, all what we are talking about, the concentration we are giving to national or state political posts will not be there, because where the real development is local government.
Senator Lufemi Lanley left the ADC.
Yes.
Monsura Sumonu left the ADC.
Yes.
Wasiu Olatubosun, the great mobilizer of the party then, left the ADC.
He's not the great mobilizer of
no.
I disagree with that.
Left
the ADC? Of course, we have many members. You see, the problem...
you might have many members. I just mentioned prominent names. Who do you have left?
You see, those names you mentioned, they are on their own. You don't mere names. They are supporters who make them that. Who by what means they made that name? It's not because of those people that are their followers.
Maybe what
if you investigate very well, you see that most of their followers didn't follow them.
Maybe what
go to their various local government and constituency. Go and find out.
Maybe what Chike is saying is the ADC has come to be a breeding ground for potential political
for the big boys. That's where I'm going to. It seems to be a training ground for the big boys. You train them, the big boys come to pick them up, right?
My show you who is somebody that maybe they are already wooing you too now.
We are the core. Yeah, this is core of the ADC. Those people you mentioned, they are not core of
the
ADC.
I'm coming. The ADC in Oyo State seem to be like a political academy for the big boys. They are being trained, and the next thing the big boys come to snap them out. Some of your members are in Governor Seyi Makinde's cabinet.
Former members.
Some members of the ADC.
Oh, they still remain with
ADC. Are in Governor Seyi Makinde's.
Like who?
They've not officially decamped.
Like who?
I wouldn't be mentioning names. It's up to you to know.
Anyone that is in the Seyi Makinde's.
Yeah, what is your party's stand on such people?
Those people that you see in Seyi Makinde's government, they are no longer member of ADC. They've decamped since.
But they've not done that officially.
On Thursday, maybe next week, you see.
Okay, but for now, they are still members of the ADC because they've not officially decamped.
Going to public making the declaration does not make you a member of another party.
But they are still carrying members of the ADC.
They are not because we've already done the needful underneath. So we don't need to pronounce many names, because by mentioning their name, we only giving them a kind of publicity they don't need. They don't need. So we don't do that. When they are going, they just go.
The Commissioner for Energy in Oyo State.
He is not.
He used to be a member.
He is not at all. He was never.
Monsura was a member of the ADC.
He came from APC to ADC. When I said core member of ADC, they are not.
So if Folarin comes for you now, you won't go with him.
Why should I go? I have my own. We have our own.
Maybe we'll put it this way: is your party open to a coalition?
We are not open to coalition.
Even with the right funds?
Which right funds?
With the right funds.
We have our candidate that want to run. Let me say this.
Money.
Let me say
this. Politics is what the parties in Nigeria.
Have you gone around the city?
Money talks.
Have you gone around the city?
If a political party comes and gives you
feel your presence.
Have you gone around the city?
You mean to feel your presence?
Of course.
I've gone around 11 local governments in Oyo State.
Let me cite an example.
Okay,
you understand? Go to the northwest, southwest, federal constituency.
Yes.
You see what is happening there.
What is happening there?
Oh, then I can
northwest, southwest federal constituency. You have the PDP man Stanley Olajide there.
Have you heard of Bola?
Who is Bolaho?
Have you gone around the city?
Who is Bolaho?
That is why we said, you see, people.
Bolaho is hiding. We can't see Bolaho.
We can't see Bolaho.
Yes.
You know, you can't see. Have you gone around?
I've gone round.
You've gone round.
I've gone round.
Not seen
Northwest.
Maybe because we have not appeared on your program to bring Bolaho down. Maybe that is why you have not seen
Bolaho. Bolaho is hiding. There are many Bolahos on this street.
No.
I don't know the Bolaho
you can't. We are talking about Bolaho.
Do you know Bolaho?
Yes. You can pretend
Professor
that.
Do you know Bolaho?
Yes.
Is it the one in my class?
I know of one Bolaho. I know Bolaho Salami, who formerly played for Shooting Stars.
No. You have so it shows that you have not gone round. If you have gone round, you see it.
Is he seeking to be a counselor?
Bolahan now, you understand, has become a threat.
Really?
To even the man you mentioned. I don't want to mention the man you
Bolaho, they say you are a threat. Which one of the Bolahos are we talking about?
We are talking about
their list. Do you know any Bolaho?
We are
talking who? Now you are talking. You just gave a name to it. Because there are many Bolahos on the street.
We are talking about Bolaho Ibikunle.
I know Bolaho Ibikunle. You know, he wants to go to the House of Reps.
Yes.
Ibadan Northwest Southwest constituency. I know him, but when you mention Bolaho, I don't know Bolaho.
Because you mention his first. You don't want us to. You don't. You just want. You see, when you go around, we don't deal with big names nowadays. We look for the credible people that can help the society grow. And that is what our party is all about.
Okay.
You see, the reason we went into coalition in the first place, we thought that the government of the day will be the government of the people that can even bring needful development to the state.
That was your reason for the coalition?
Of course.
So what happened along the line?
Along the line, when we cannot, you see, our manifestos, when we see that the policy is in contradict what we believe, I believe our philosophy, ideology, we have to part ways.
But your main leaders in the ADC then,
they are not. We made them leader.
You made them leaders.
We made them.
But they were your leaders.
We made them leader, and then leadership has been withdrawn.
They were leaders then. At some point, whether you like it or not. And they moved to the PDP.
Okay,
let me enjoy the coalition.
You see. Let me bring it to perspective and see. Right. They were leader then.
Okay.
Because we trust them to be leader. At the time when we could no longer trust them, and they feel also that we can no longer trust them, they have no choice than to leave the party and go to where they think they can have their free business as usual.
Okay, now let me come in here. I see that you have this very close affinity, to the local government, areas. Are you coming out specifically to gain, the local governments, or are you also looking? We're restricting ourselves to the state now, to the office of governor. Are you also looking for the governor?
They have a candidate.
You have a candidate.
We have a candidate.
Yeah,
we have a candidate that is running
across board. That's very good. Now, what do you think is wrong with the present administration? Necessitating your wanting to come in
to take over power.
To take over power to solve.
There are many things. There are many issues to talk about. First on the list is the issue of the security. And when you consider any other things, Yoruba sọ pé ilé taba fitomo, iriniowo, meaning that if you don't prepare good ground for whatever development or infrastructural development you are thinking about, then it comes to nothing. Number one, because security sustains everything you want to do. As law sustain, you see, when our law has a lot of issues, that is why we find ourselves in this situation we find ourselves. So the foundation that we thought the society needs to build upon was completely eroded. And when you look at the security situation of the state, here and there, we can't sleep two eyes closed nowadays. And more importantly, let me address this. A very laudable idea is pack my management system. But I thought whoever that will manage such idea such project should be somebody that is grounded or well educated, well versed in that sector that can manage the transportation sectors of the society very well. Then you outlaw a particular what do they call it? NURTW. You outlawed a particular association, and you brought in a system. And out of that system you brought in, you now take one of the most maligned members of such association you outlawed to come and head such.
In Lagos State, MC Oluomo is the head of their park management system.
That's the problem we have.
So to you, Seyi Makinde's government has not done very well
in the area of security and sanitation as well.
In the area of sanitation,
yes,
and in the area of this transportation and what have you.
Because
we
don't have any transportation deficit. There is no deficit in transportation sector. Before government brought in all these Omititu. But Oyo State is not like Lagos. That needs.
Teslim Folari says if he gains control of Agodi, he will turn the parks into dormitories for students. Are you also thinking along that line?
I'm not thinking it. His own view. Okay. Our party will not have as that.
What would you like to turn the place into?
The place, yes. You see, infrastructure development is good that we have that.
Oh, you'll keep that?
Yes, of course. It's good. It make the city neater. You understand?
Okay.
So, but there should be a very good policy in place, at least to sustain such park. To make it lucrative and then bring resources to the seat.
All right. How come?
What on a break?
Prof, you are not battling this APC man.
Just hold on.
You are not battling this APC man.
My original worry was that it's going to be among the next list of political parties that will be deregistered. So I didn't want to go that far. I was
deregistered in what manner? We have what it takes.
I was that at least they have some councillors in Oyo State.
Okay, Barrister Adelowo, we'll go on a break now, and when we come back, we'll look at some of your candidates and the future, the chances of this or your party in the 2023 election. Stay tuned and don't go away.
Zumbo, why are you going looking like you want to beat somebody? See me see trouble low. I beg, see waiting I order. See waiting then deliver give me. It resemble. And I don't pay online. Chai, now why I like to buy on Jumia? I feel return waiting I buy for free within 7 days after it has been delivered to me. And you tell me before, now Jumia I go to buy from now. But first, that's in apparel. Now me and you today. Zumbo. Enjoy the peace of mind that comes with free returns when you shop on Jumia. Terms and conditions apply. Jumia, your everyday delivered.
All right, welcome back. The last stretch of the podium this morning. We've been discussing with the spokesperson of the African Democratic Congress, the ADC, in Oyo State. Let's go to that's Barrister Adebinkwe Adelowo. Let's go to the name you mentioned. You mentioned Honorable Olayinka, that's the Dr. Olayinka Bolahon Ibikunle. You mentioned him, and Ibadan Southwest and Northwest is one of the most sensitive constituencies when it comes to electioneering in Oyo State. And then I want to ask, is he prepared for this? That's one. Is he going to... We have the likes of Saheed Fijabi of the APC. We have Odidiomo going back for his second term there in Abuja. Then is this person ready for what he wants to get into? Considering the fact that he was not a member of the ADC ab initio. He just joined the ADC to run this election. So tomorrow when he leaves, you will come back to tell us that he was not a core member of the ADC.
Oh, thank you so much. You see, with me here, I have a comrade, Adegunju.
Yeah. Adegunju Tayo.
That is the media presence of doctor.
Yes, comrade Adegunju.
So that is the
Dr. Bolahon Ibikunle ready for campaigns have started for House of Rep members. We have not seen him on the street. You ask me if I've gone around. I've gone around 11 local governments in Ibadan. I've gone through Ibadan Northwest, Ibadan Southwest, and we've not seen Bolahon.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chike. You see, when we are talking of grassroots, I think I doubt if somebody could be better off than somebody like me and the others. Yes,
I'm not a politician, so I accept defeats for that.
Of course. So once again, I'm from Ibadan Southwest local government, Ward 12 to be precise, in Akpata. Those names you have mentioned, they have earlier worked with them in one capacity or the other. And you see, when we are talking of politics goes beyond we do respect the issue of the media or whatever. We are talking of the masses. We are talking of the grassroots. We are talking of the victims of the bad governance from these people you are talking of. And in that regard, those acclaimed big names you mentioned, go back to the street and ask people if you take possibly 5 of their flyers and let's see if just a single person will collect from you, because they are victims of bad governance from these people. And as such, that is what prompted somebody like a doctor or like Ogbonna Ibikunle to come on board as a philanthropist ab initio. And in that regard, he started by touching lives across infrastructure, education. Think of it. And
is that the campaign?
No. It's not. You see, we have a flyer that maybe I should even give you a complimentary copy now. We have a flyer here, and that I've been flying for over 2 years now.
The flyer has been flying.
Yes, and this is the project. These are the projects that this man has done across the 23 wards of Ibadan Southwest and Northwest Federal Constituency, and those projects were tagged where he did it to. So you can confirm further and possibly call us to come back to this program and tell us where our lies. So in that regard, Honorable Dr. Ogbonna Ibikunle is the man that people want. Is the man that have been touching lives, unlike others. That is the project he did before even venturing into politics.
I want to come in here.
Okay.
You see, it's so interesting in this climb that lawmakers are known for projects, not bills, not motions. The question will be, I'll direct it to him. He was supposed to be on this program today, but I know he'll be coming subsequently.
Very sure.
So the question is, what bills and motions? Is it the right of a lawmaker to construct roads, to give grinding machines, to give Okada, sewing machines?
Anyway,
we're looking at issue-based campaigns, not projects. Not, for example, what I see here, rehabilitation of boreholes, boreholes for people.
Yes.
Are those the bills and motions?
You see,
I think this should be part of the job of your councillors representing it.
Ordinarily, Mr. Chike, you said something. And ordinarily, when you're talking of representation, this time around, we are talking of lawmaking are the principal function of a lawmaker. Then you are still talking of oversight functions, and that is where possibly the issue of infrastructure comes in. And by now, he has that personal capacity to fix those infrastructure facilities, and that is what he is saying. God willing, when he emerged or voted in by February 2023 general election, and by May 29, he been sworn in, then you see more of lawmaking. You see lawmaking that are very much positive. You see lawmaking that touches lives. And funny enough, this man happened to be a professional in the area of energy.
Okay, we'll still get back to you. Dear listener, you reside within Ibadan Northwest, which comprises of Dugbe and its environs. Ibadan Southwest, comprising of Ring Road, Akpata, part of Akpata, and part of Okeado, Ososami, Molefa-Lafia, and the likes. If you reside around this area, Ibadan Northwest, Ibadan Southwest constituency, you can call in. What are those things that need to be fixed?
No, how much of Bolahon?
Yeah, what are those things that
how
need
much
to
of
be fixed?
Bolahon?
Do you know?
What's the full name now?
Ibikunle.
How much of Bolahon Ibikunle do you know?
070-550-949 080-9 7,949. What are your expectations? The elections are here. Very soon in February, we'll have the general elections. What are your expectations from our lawmakers, our potential lawmakers, our potential governors, our potential senators? What are your expectations from them? Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Okay, you have to call us back. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Your name and where you're calling from?
My name is Oladipo Agbola. I'm calling from OGBOGU Akpata, Ibadan.
Okay, very good. Odono Akpata. Okay, let's hear from you.
If you follow the have touched a lot of lives. These days, we have given them COS, GS of things, educational funds, GS of things. Is a man of integrity. I can say something about him.
Now you're talking about, I mean, in your constituency, what are those things that you feel that need to be addressed?
We have never had any part of honorable as a friend in our constituency. We have never, none of them have ever touched our rights there. But if you fully have not been in honorable yet, but he has been doing a lot of things in our constituency. He's a man of integrity.
All right,
He's a man of honor.
Thank you for calling. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Your name and where you're calling from?
Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Elizabeth. I'm calling from Olofumewa.
Okay, let's hear from you, Elizabeth.
I'm calling from Olofumewa.
Let's hear from you, Elizabeth.
Olofumewa, Ele side.
Go ahead, let's hear from you.
We have been seeing. Okay, we have been seeing posters.
You have to call. Okay, you've actually called from. Look, is part of Northwest. Yeah, it's part of Northwest. But
saying they've been seeing posters and
they've been seeing posters and all that. But
we have been seeing
Okay. Elizabeth, you can call us back and you tell us what we'll be looking at. Well, because it's time for campaigns and we need to see issue-based campaigns, not propaganda, not maligning the other faction.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning.
Yeah, my name is Moshe Said. I'm coming here from Ibadan Northwest.
Okay.
Yeah. Dr. Olayinka Bolan Ibikun is a well-known man within the Ibadan Northwest and South of Federal Constituency.
Okay, we are not here to promote. Hello. We are not here to promote Ibikunle. He is going to be on this show by himself. But what we are saying is, in that constituency, what are those things you need to do? Do you really know what a lawmaker is meant to do in your area? Okay. In your constituency, what are those things you feel our lawmakers should do to better the lives of people in that constituency, especially you recently in the Northwest?
The only assignment of the lawmakers is just to make love. But in addition, as our federal constituency now, there is no tangible figure that touches the lives of people, except the king just to do those.
Are you also a member of the ADC?
No, I'm a member of ADC. Member of ADC.
Yeah, I see the reason why you're calling. You promote the party. All right, thank you for calling. He's a member of the ADC.
Definitely.
And a resident of the constituency.
We didn't disturb any other.
Okay, Bolanho Ibikunle, Dr. Bolanho Ibikunle. I'll be meeting him very soon. And we'll be talking. We'll look at issues. Because we're going to ask him questions, issues. You are his media aide. He has been moving around, doing things. But we've not, he's not visible. Let me put it, he's not visible.
In what sense?
Prof, is he visible?
In what sense?
The only visibility we see are posters.
Then what else?
We've not seen him.
The grassroots are seeing him. The grassroots are feeling him. The grassroots enjoying him. Go to Ward 9. He fixed a school there, a block of a classroom. The teachers, the students,
if he can
the
do
parents,
these things,
they are enjoying him.
things, why not liaise with the government and work in tandem with the government and say, okay, this is what you do, this is what you do, and then maybe things can work out fine.
What else?
Why wait till election before we know we are going to do
He's
this?
He's fixing it now.
He's fixing
it. Government are expected to supply water. He's supplying water. Government are expected to take care of the welfare of the people. Go to Akpata community now. He just dropped 500,000 naira for the Akpata market women to promote their business.
If he's
Government are expected to do that. He's doing it.
If he is already doing that, why does he need to go to the House of Representatives?
To do more.
To do more.
Let me come
from Abuja.
Yes.
If he goes to Abuja, he will forget you.
No.
He won't.
Let me
follow him. Let me follow him to Abuja.
I earlier told you I'm a grassroots person, and I earlier told you that I've worked with those people. I did not go to Abuja.
All right,
I live here.
Let me say something about that.
We have to go.
You see,
your final.
Yes. When we are talking about,
we have to go.
The laxity in a part of certain authority makes us to see what lawmakers should not. Lawmakers doing what they're supposed to do.
Exactly.
Understand?
Okay.
Because if there is a vacuum or there is gap to fill, and that is what we are seeing. Even this man we are talking about, he has not had any position before. He was
all right. We've been speaking with Barrister Adebimpe Adelowo and Comrade Adegunju Tayo. It's been awesome on the podium this morning with earlier with Festus Kiyamo.
Honorable Minister.
Thank you for featuring Professor Remi Ayede and Barrister Yomi Ogunlola.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah,
Next week will be the time for the Afenifere, the two factions, the renewal and the mainstream. Until I come your way, I worked alongside Kemi Ademeyin and Bemisola Falona. Also, Kayode Obicheson. I am Chike Obogo. Up next is Ijao Dollar with Wakilumo Tobilola Ogunshina.
You're listening to